What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the MG YouTube channel. I'm your host, Malachi Greb, CEO of Elite Automation, Elite Properties, and an investor in Tesla. Today's going to be kind of a short video because I'm on the run. Well, not like on the run because that doesn't sound right. But, yeah, I'm out of town right now. I'm in Eaton, Ohio, which is near like Richmond, Indiana. And, yeah, I'm on site on a project. Basically, we had a customer call in last minute and we didn't have anybody else available, so I just went ahead and did it myself. I'd get out in the field and still execute and, you know, do electrical engineering, electrical wiring, PLC programming, robot programming. I still do all those things. However, I don't do much of it anymore, and I'm getting kind of rusty. But, yeah, so today, or this week, for Tesla news, there hasn't been anything major except for one huge thing, and that is the Model Y L has been released in China. And it's almost a definitive guarantee that we will have the Model Y L here in the United States as well. It's just kind of a matter of time. We've seen the same thing with the Juniper. Juniper released in China before it released in the US, and the whole reasoning for that is I think China can just execute quicker. I think their manufacturing team, their their suppliers of maybe automation equipment and tooling and stuff like that happens to just be quicker over there in China. They're known for being very fast and also very cost effective as well. Versus like the United States is like tends to be a little bit slower and tends to be a little bit more expensive. Well, quite a bit more expensive. And that's one of the advantages of Elite Automation and why we're so good is we actually have a global procurement. We do a lot of our manufacturing out of India, and that's one way we're able to keep our costs down and also be able to execute more quickly on our super big projects. We outsource a lot of the like child components, at least the machining of them, to other facilities. So this, some of our big projects might have 50 vendors making parts for us, and then we're doing internal quality inspection and whatnot. Another story though, for another topic, but you can just plug that in as like the sponsor of this video, Elite Automation, a company that builds automated manufacturing equipment, and especially in like robotics, anything material handling, robotic welding, all that good stuff. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, the Model L, the reason why this is such a big deal is it's just going to create a whole new buyer's market. For the people who are like the Model L and like the Model L or the Model Y, or sorry, not Model L, Model YL, the long edition of the Model Y. This is just a really big deal because there's a lot of people that don't want the Model Y because it's just too short, it's too small. There's a lot of people out there that are really wanting a full-size SUV, and the Model YL is still not a full-size SUV. At least I don't consider it a full-size SUV. I'm the type of person that, I don't want to get a Ford Expedition. I want to get the Ford Expedition XL. You know what I mean? I want to get the Lincoln Navigator L, which I own both those vehicles. Actually, we just sold one of them. We just sold one of the Expeditions, but I have another Expedition as well. All on the L edition. If I'm looking to buy one, if it's not the L edition, XL edition, whatever, I do not buy it. So it's kind of the same thing goes. Like if I go to buy a Model Y again, I'll only probably ever buy the Model YL moving forward, unless there's some other business implication that I might use the Model Y. Maybe if I have a fleet of robo-taxis or something like that, then I might get the smaller Model Y, just maybe because it's more efficient, or maybe Tesla is promoting those on the network versus like the L, just due to like being able to keep the rides cheaper for guests or whatever. Because not everybody, especially for like robo-taxi, doesn't need the L. Like that's only really necessary if there's a lot of people that are going, like maybe they need to be taken to like the airport, and so there's a lot of luggage. But then like that's my one caveat as well, is we travel with a bunch of our employees, and they fly in from places like India, Mexico, and all that good stuff, and they bring all their luggages to work for like a month or something, and the whole entire back's packed. Like not only is the back packed, but we have third row seating with the third row folded down and just packed out with like luggages and stuff like that, and then sometimes still having backpacks and stuff in the inside cab of the vehicle. So whenever it comes like luggage and stuff like that, if you need to get to the airport, I mean, you might be having to default to taking 2 vehicles versus just ride sharing with one vehicle. And this is the big reason why I think they need the XL. But I think releasing the L puts them in a good position to eventually have an XL. And I also want to go ahead and put in a prediction that I've not really seen anybody else predict. I predict that they will also do a Model XL. So the Model X in the L variant, and they're going to call it Model XL. And I think that'd be really cool. Basically the exact same concept they did with the Y, just stretch it out, make it longer, raise the back cab just a little bit. And that'll give you even more of a full-sized SUV. So like if you're comparing the vehicles, the Model Y is slightly smaller than the Model X, and then the Model L is actually slightly bigger than the Model X. When I say Model L, I'm saying Model YL. But yeah, I know I keep doing that. But if they did like a Model XL and then made that Model XL bigger than the Model YL, I think that would be another good reason to buy the Model XL. Just because, one, you have the luxury, two, you have the space, right? And people who have money, this is one thing that people don't consider. People who have money don't care about the size. They don't care about the size of the vehicle, the efficiencies, things like that, right? They just want a pimped out ride. They want something that looks like a status vehicle, if that makes sense, right? So like, you know, we don't talk about it much, but like we have the Turo business going on or whatever, where we rent vehicles. Not really a good business. I don't advise anybody to get into it, but you know, subscribe if you want to hear some other videos on that topic. But our number one rented vehicles are our L edition vehicles, right? All of our super long SUVs. And again, I think it's status. I think people want that extra space, and it's being rented by single individuals. And we have the Model Y on there. And we have other available vehicles that people could rent that are not an SUV, right? And yet the SUVs are getting rented out by far. I think people just like SUVs. People just like trucks, you know, and SUVs give you that trucky feel. It's what I love about the Cybertruck that I'm sitting in here, is it's a truck, you know. It's the same as getting in like an F-150 or you know, Silverado or something like that space-wise. And from my experience, no other Tesla gives you the space that this has. Like when I go and jump in the Model Y, I feel a little bit like crunched and a little bit, especially when you go from like just being in the Cybertruck and you go into that. I would love to see Tesla do like a Cyber SUV. If I had to vote on anything, like a Model XL or like a Cyber SUV, I would hands down vote for Cyber SUV. I would also really like to see like a Model X XL, so like a extremely lengthened up L. Make sure that it's like matching the max specs of like any vehicle in the market, size wise. Like make it bigger than Lincoln Navigator L, make it bigger than the Expedition XL. But the Cybertruck's already got that size, right? If they just like raise the back end of it up where the bed's at, like the same thing you see with every other pickup truck. You know, like your Ford Expedition is basically your Ford F-150. The newer models have changed since they went to like doing this whole V6 thing, so it depends on the year and stuff like that. But like they've started to change some of the chassis stuff. But back, you know, like 2012, like the Ford F-150 chassis, it was the Expedition chassis. And same with like the Ford Excursion. The Ford Excursion was like the F-250 chassis, and used a lot of the Ford F-250 components. So I think they should do the exact same thing with the Cybertruck. Use the Cybertruck platform, everything about the Cybertruck, same interior, same everything like that. Just make it the SUV version. Again, that's exactly what they did with the Expedition and all that good stuff. Now, just going back to the YL, it's just going to service a market that a lot of people want and a lot of people need, right? Because like the third row seat in the Model Y, which I have actually, I have the 7-seater edition. There's just not enough space back there. I don't know if they did anything to make it plausible to have an 8th seat. I don't think that they're going to, and I'm really just hoping and banking that they are gonna come out with a 8-seat variant or more, like a 12-seat like passenger vehicle or something. And I'm really hoping they reveal that soon. I keep going into like, you know, the things that I wish they'd reveal, but but going back to like the Model YL, it's going to service a lot of people because most people, you know, have like less than 4 kids, right? So that fits, you know, a vehicle. And basically, you know, if you have 3 kids, that's when you have over 3 kids, now you have to go to like the Model Y with the additional seats, right? Because you have your husband, you have your wife, and then you have your 3 kids, or then you, if you have 4 kids, then there's only 3 that can legally sit in the you know, the back seat. So you have to have that 3rd row for the 4th kid. And then, you know, if you're a parent, like, this is one thing that I feel like it's forgotten about, is like, even parents with 4 kids, like, you have like the soccer mom dealio, and I just say soccer mom thing is just like a way to like coin, we got a bunch of kids loading up in the car, and we need a way to get them around, you know? I mean, like, for us, dude, it's crazy. We already have 6 kids, so you have 6 kids plus 2 friends. I mean, like, if all of them have 1 friend, that's 12 people. We absolutely don't have enough seats anyways, and I don't think Tesla's gonna be able to service us unless they come out with like a 12-passenger van or something like that, which I would like to see, and I would purchase that. It would be on the top of my list to actually purchase, because, you know, as of right now, it's just like, we're either all cramping in a car that we really don't fit in. Like, if they ask for friends to come along with us, then, you know, a lot of times they can't because we don't have enough seats in the car. And so these are like, you know, things people are considering, you know, outside of just what they have as a family. So if you look at just the statistics of a family, I would say 50% of the people that have kids, especially who have 3 kids, this is something that is, you know, brought up. You know, if nieces or nephews stay the night, you know, all these things, like, now you're stuck and can't go nowhere without having a bigger vehicle. So, you know, I think, I don't know what the SUV sales are. I feel like there's a lot of people that would want the XL SUVs. Maybe they don't actually purchase them, and maybe they just kind of deal with like having this issue of not being able to travel around with enough people and whatnot, or enough seats, so they can't travel with, you know, whatever, the people that want to travel with them or whatever. But yeah, it kind of sucks, you know, especially again if you had like that higher amount of kids, like you have 4 kids or something like that, and like they're having a sleepover or something. It's like, now you gotta like pick or choose who goes, doesn't go, and if you're driving 2 vehicles now. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Model Y is gonna do Model YL is gonna do extremely well. It's just a bigger variant. Again, I would buy the Model Y L over the Model Y any day now. I just like my space, right? I'm gonna buy the biggest, longest SUV you can give me. And that's just my nature. So I'm very biased whenever it comes to that. I'd like to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like, if you really like, you know, big SUVs, or does it matter to you or not? But I just do a lot of stuff all the time. So like, for me, it's not just needing the seats for the kids. I fold down all rows of seats and have like TVs in the back and like all kinds of stuff. Like, it's just wild, like the amount of stuff I put in the back of my vehicles. So that's one thing I also love about the Cybertruck, just being able to have a Tesla with FSD that I can throw shit in the back. I love the tonneau cover. You know, I just rode up here with thousands of dollars in tools in the back, tens of thousands of dollars in tools in the back. Had to stop at the hotel and you know, sleep that night before I could carry my tools into the customer's facility, and they were safe. I wasn't worried about them, didn't think about it, wasn't concerned at all. If I had a regular pickup truck, you know, it wouldn't really been an option. I would have had to get like a aftermarket installed tonneau cover for some other, you know, pickup truck, and that pickup truck doesn't have FSD, and I won't buy another vehicle that doesn't have FSD. For those who don't know, full self-driving. It literally drives me everywhere. I got 20,000 miles on this truck, and I've done like 1% of the driving. The truck's done about 99.9% of the driving. So yeah, if there's anything in particular you'd like to know, again, I was busy this week, so I kind of just want to bring this information, kind of rant on about the Model Y L, and yeah, get your guys' thoughts and opinions, and share my thoughts and opinions. Catch y'all on the next one.